I guess this will be first YouTube video on this channel, but I have this E93 M54 that needs some work. So originally he wanted me to check the oil pan. He had a belt that slipped. In the alternator, you can see a ton of that rubber compound. You can also see some back there. It's already leaking oil and who knows what else, and it's pretty well coated. Even way back there by the transmission, you can see it is just full of oil. It's got a high flow downpipes. So there is a slight knock that I can hear, and it does go up with RPMs. I'm not gonna test revving it, but trust me, the knocking does increase with throttle. Hopefully bearings are fine. I will be replacing the bearings in this car as well, since I'll be taking the oil pan and the pickup tube off. The bearings are right there, so might as well do it. Which means I've got to take that oil pump off. And if you guys have ever done those jobs, those pumps suck. Anyway, got to get it up on jacks, chalk the back, get it ready, drain the oil, check the filter, all that stuff. So the reason I'm doing YouTube now, well, I'll be posting this on TikTok as well. But anyway, I like long form videos a lot more than TikTok short form. Why is it so dark? I'd much rather edit a full day's worth of work than to edit it down into like 20 parts to upload on TikTok in a short form. That's the only reason I'm doing this. But I'll be posting clips of this video on my TikTok to bring you guys over to the YouTube, because I want to do more vlogs and like cars and coffee vlogs and like just random little vlogs like that. Another thing I've noticed on this thing is the PCV fitting back here is loose. It's completely out, not even in there. I don't know if that's what's causing the knocking, but clip is broken, so it's not holding itself in its spot. Obviously the leaking oil cap. So the coolant problem seems to be, so those two tabs right there with the blue tips, those should actually be pushed in and grabbing that radiator, and they're pushed out. And you can see just a ton of leaking from this side of the radiator. So that radiator is no good. You can also see up top right here that there's some coolant leaking through. So we got more leaking coming from the water pump, or some fitting near the water pump. You can see just how full of oil this whole engine bay is, the bottom side of this car. So even back there. If you are coming from TikTok, let me know if you like this longer form videos, if I should do. What is that? I just got crap on my face. Whatever. If you like the long form videos over the short form, I like it more. I feel like it's more authentic, I guess. I don't know, but I can also include more like random tips and vlogs like this. I don't know, I prefer long term. I know like everyone's attention span is getting horrible and they can't really watch full videos. Hopefully I make this as entertaining hopefully I make this entertaining enough for you guys to watch through the whole thing. Enough rambling. Oil is pretty dark. I'm not sure how old this oil is. All right, now we're gonna take the coolant pipe, or the coolant hose, off of the water pump. I'm gonna let it drain like this for a little bit, and then once it dies down, I'll take the whole pipe off and let the water fall down. Now I'm just disconnecting all of these zip ties that are holding in all these broken tabs in. Clips broke and they decided to just use zip ties to hold it together. So get rid of all these zip ties. We'll figure out a different way to hold that in. So next step is removing lower control arm, sway bar, upper control arm. I'm waiting on my friend to bring the tow hook so I can connect the engine to the support bar and hold the engine up while I remove the subframe. But he's off till 8 p.m. so I gotta do other stuff while I wait for that. Coolant's drained, oil's drained. Oh, we gotta check the oil filter, so we'll do that. Actually, we'll do that right now. That filter has seen better days. Holy crap. All right, so let's check out that oil filter. So as you can see, it's all mangled up, and I think that has to do with it has trouble sucking through the oil filter. Let me check these. Or sorry, I don't see any flakes. But this filter is ripping like nothing. It's either old or I don't know. It's really stiff. I wonder if this is a genuine man filter. I don't see a manufacturer on there. STP filter and the wrong O-rings. I don't like using aftermarket O-rings. The cage itself is stuck in the filter. There's the cage. Let's put the cage in here. So the cage is fine. So there's no issues with suction. The prongs aren't broken. This isn't broken. Spring's still in there. Yeah. So I'm gonna clean this cap up and then be done with that. So I'm gonna start by removing the tie rod and on both sides, and then also the sway bar end links, lower and upper control arms from the subframe, not from the hub. And then that'll get me ready to drop the subframe while I wait on that part, or while I wait on the tow hook. So let's get this time lapse going, get these things taken off, and see what else I can find.
Then I just power washed the whole entire car, trying to get as much gunk and grease off as I possibly could. And now it's all over my driveway permanently, but you can see it's a lot cleaner now than it used to be. You can actually see that subframe too, which is crazy.
So this is what I mean by random little things going on. This was hitting the crank pulley, and it almost made and chewed its way all the way through into the inlet for this silicone pipe that the dual cone intake sits on. So after some time, it would have been a hole in there, and you would have been sucking up dirt, debris from the road. So I have the support bar mounted to the engine. I finally got the tow hook. So that's holding and supporting the engine's weight so it doesn't drop down. I have every single subframe bolt out. So the only thing holding it in now is just this jack. So we're gonna let it down. All right, subframe is now out. That was a lot more complicated because I don't have a lift, but steering rack is chilling in there. These are power steering, so it's not like the F chassis where you have the electronic steering and the steering rack actually comes with the subframe. This has to stay in there, but I have it laying on a block of wood right now, and now I have access to the oil pan. So I'm gonna try to do as much as I can today, or tonight technically, because I want to see if there's any belt shrapnel in it, and if there is, then I can text him and let him know, because that's the whole reason that I'm doing this in the first place. Other than that, I'll just probably take off a bearing or two and check the condition of the bearings themselves. So that's progress update. So day one, most of the day I was waiting for that tow hook, so I couldn't really get much work done. After that, it was pretty late at night, so I only got to removing the subframe and the steering rack, and then starting to take off the power steering pump. So yeah, I gotta finish removing the power steering pump, and then we can start removing the oil pan, I believe. I think that's the only thing blocking it. Also transmission lines. So let's get to doing that. There's also coolant leaking on the downpipe here. That's coming from this coolant pipe. At the top, it connects with 4 bolts, and they actually used silicone or RTV around it, and it's leaking. So whoever did that job didn't do it right. So I got to take these downpipes off and redo that and put the gasket in, or the O-ring in there. Other than that, some turbos have like black gunk on them. I'm not sure if that's where the oil's coming from. And there's also oil dripping from the back right of the motor, which usually tends to be the valve cover, but this has a new valve cover, which is weird. So I'm not sure why that's leaking, but I gotta check that out as well. So I'm gonna take these downpipes off first, and then I'll be taking off the pan and checking the bearings and the pickup tube. Steering rack is just hanging around.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
So that there is the fitting, and if you can see, they put RTV all the way around it, and it's leaking from that RTV. So whoever did that job didn't do it right. Now gotta fix it.
So that there's what came out of the oil pan. Looks like 2 pieces of belt shrapnel and the rest is plastic. This piece. Oh wait. Yeah, that's shrapnel. So there is a little bit of belt material in the bottom. Not too much, but the real test is going to be inside the pickup tube, which I'm going to pull now.
A few things I noticed was this bolt up here is snapped off and in there, so I'm gonna have to extract that bolt. Same thing with this one here. There's no bolt on here. It's stuck inside and snapped off. So whoever did this last and took off this oil pump, I don't know what they were in here for. Maybe timing chain, or maybe the bearings have been done already. But whoever was in here broke that bolt and broke that bolt up there as well. The leaking was coming from back here somewhere, so hopefully it's just the gasket, and with the new one it'll stop. But so far, that's all I've seen here. There's also the intake. The turbo intakes are 2 silicone boots, just worm geared with the worm gear clamps together. That's not how it's supposed to be. I think you can actually see a piece right here somewhere. If you see in there, that's a piece of, I believe, exhaust tubing. And then there's 2 worm gear clamps on the silicone boots. That's the turbo there, and that's the turbo inlet. So there is no real inlet that they use. They just made their own inlet. Same thing with the turbo right here. Silicone inlet to a silicone boot and 2 worm gear clamps. So that's not how it's supposed to be. I'll have to look to see what turbos these are and find the actual real inlets that are supposed to go to it. This is the pickup tube, and if you can see in there the screen, it's really hard with this camera, but there is belt material in there. So good thing that's being replaced. All right, so that there is where the coolant pipe was. You can see the RTV. This is the pipe that came out. The O-ring, I took it out because I cleaned the mating surface with Scotch-Brite, but the O-ring was completely flush with the part, so it was not sealing anything, which is why they used RTV. So I'm going to clean up this mating surface, and then I had him order the new O-ring, so that's going to be good and ready to go. I'm not going to be leaking anymore. You can see these O-rings as well. These O-rings are basically squished. You can see it squishing to the back side of the part. These also need new O-rings on both, and those just connect onto this part right there. So 3 new O-rings for that part to fix all the coolant leaking. That's going to get him squared away. This is what came out. So just mix and matched bolts. These are steel bolts that are all rusted now. I'm not reusing these. And you have these bolts here, which are like grade 8 right here. Grade 5, grade 8 bolts. Just all mixed and matched. These came off of the coolant pipe. You can see some are Torx female and some are Torx male. So it's just a whole mess in here, but slowly getting it squared away, cleaning everything up and putting it back. Alrighty, so I got the turbo exposed. Silicone boots are off. Same thing with this guy over here. Silicone boots are off, turbo's completely exposed. So apart from that, I can't really do much. I haven't gotten any parts. They're all on order. I believe they'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to look for on CTS's website. These are CTS Stage 2 turbos. So hopefully they have a inlet kit for them and a silicone tube as well for the dual cone intakes, or just a different type of intake. Because honestly, those dual cones, yeah, they allow more airflow, but you're also sucking in hot air from the engine bay. So I don't really like those dual cones. I'd rather put like a stock system on there. I got to find those inlets, and then after that, I can start working on the bearings, take off the oil pump, check if the bearings are in good state or not. So that's where we're at now. I'm just going to kind of clean up all the extra parts I took off of it, the heat shields that have oil on them, and just clean up the bottom of the motor so that if there's any leaks in the future, they're easier to find. But yeah, very jank job that somebody did on this car, and now I got to fix it all. So do it right and do it once.